Okay, good morning. We're going to talk about to identify and solve for excluded values. So an excluded value is basically the same thing as an asymptote. So let's just go over an asymptote right here. So an asymptote basically is going to be a boundary. The boundary is also going to be also a limit and also an excluded value. All right, so a horizontal asymptote is basically going to say that you're going to have a y value, that's a number, that is a limit, which means that it doesn't touch something, which means that the function doesn't touch something horizontally. And we'll go over that in a second. And then you have a vertical asymptote. So a vertical asymptote is basically where x equals a number, which is also the limit. And if you read the instructions carefully, you'll be able to identify what it is that we're looking for in each graph or equation. So let's go ahead and look at example A. It says, look at the graph. What is the equation of the horizontal asymptote? So the equation is going to be the y equals, and we're looking again for a horizontal asymptote. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take like a straight edge, a pencil, a pen, doesn't really matter, piece of paper. And you're going to look horizontally, which is from left to right. I'm going to go left to right, and you're going to find where your function does not touch. It's kind of like where it kind of like tapers off. It gets really close, but it doesn't touch it. So if we kind of make this line here, this right here is our boundary. And if we count, it's 5, 6. So you're going to say y equals 6. This is the y-axis, and the numbers on the y-axis go up, but the line goes across. Okay, so let's look at example B. It says, look at the graph. What is the equation for the vertical asymptote? This is the exact same graph. We just are going to give you two different examples in the same graph. So vertical means up and down. And I'm just going to mark where it does not touch on the x-axis. So it says write the equation. So x equals 5 is your limit, which is also your boundary. So if I asked you for a limit, you would say that x equals 5. If I asked for a vertical limit, if I asked you for the horizontal limit, you would say y equals 6. Okay, what is the equation of the horizontal asymptote? So in this equation, you're just going to work with what's called a standard form. So you have a standard form when you're looking at just a rational equation plus a constant. So it's y equals a over x minus b plus c. So what you need to know is that x minus b equals 0. So it would be plus b, x equals b. That's going to be your vertical asymptote. And then we're trying to find the standard asymptote. So all you need to know is that y is going to equal c. So in this case, c is a constant. So y is always going to equal your c. I just want to make this clear. This is the same c, and this part goes right here. So where c is a constant, that's going to be your horizontal asymptote. Okay, so we're going to go through this a little bit more in depth. I'm going to make that a little bit darker. And let's go ahead and answer the question. So again, it says looking for the horizontal asymptote of a rational function. What is the equation of the horizontal asymptote of y equals 1 over x plus 7 plus 2? And horizontal means that y is going to equal a number. So y will equal the constant. In this case, your constant equals 2. So y equals 2. This is your solution. Okay. In example D, looking for the vertical asymptote of a rational function. What is the vertical asymptote of y equals 8 divided by x? So here we can say that we have our standard form, and we want to expand the standard form a little bit more. So this is what it's going to look like. So y equals 8 over x. If you look at the standard form, it said y minus b. In this case, you don't have anything. So it's just going to be plus or minus 0. And then if you look for a constant, do you have a constant? No, so you're just going to say plus or minus 0. So if I ask you for the vertical asymptote, you're going to say that it is going to be your constant of b. So x plus 0 equals 0. Well, anything plus x plus 0 is just, in this case, the variable. So x equals 0. This is going to be your solution for your vertical asymptote. Okay, look at the graph and find the vertical and horizontal asymptotes. So it's asking for horizontal and vertical. So again, we want to restate what we know. We know that a horizontal is going to be y equals, and we know our vertical is going to be x equals. So let's look at a horizontal. If we look to see where the graph doesn't touch, we have a line right here, and we're going to say that this line is y equals 0, because this is also a 0 right in here when you have a vertical axis. So y equals 0 is your horizontal asymptote. Now let's look for the vertical asymptote. The graph also doesn't touch this axis either, so then we can call that x equals 0. So your vertical asymptote is going to be x equals 0. Number 2, for the example, find the horizontal and vertical asymptotes. Okay, so horizontal asymptote is going to be y equals and x equals. So let's look at the horizontal first. So that's 1 and 2. So it doesn't touch y equals 2. Okay, and then our vertical is somewhere over on the right. And if we number this 1, 2, 3, so it's x equals 3 is your vertical, or the graph does not touch. Remember, these are also called limits. Right, number 3. Okay, so find the horizontal and vertical. Yet again. So we're going to look at the denominator. So you look at the denominator when you look for the vertical. So the vertical asymptote, you look at the denominator. So we're going to take this part, x plus 7 equals 0. And you're going to solve for x. So minus 7, x equals negative 7. That's going to be your vertical. X equals negative 7. And for your horizontal, remember that's y equals c. This right here is your constant. So c equals positive 2. So it's going to be y equals 2. I don't know if you can see all that. All right, for number 4, find the horizontal and vertical isotopes. All right, so y equals, x equals. For the vertical isotope, we're going to look at our denominator and say x minus 4 equals 0. Plus 4 plus 4. X equals 4. So that's our vertical isotope. In this case, we're looking at the constant. So c equals negative 2. We know that y equals c. So y equals negative 2. Number 5, look for the horizontal and vertical. Let's look for the vertical isotope first with the denominator. 2x plus 6 equals 0. Minus 6 minus 6. 2x equals negative 6. Divide both sides by 2. X equals negative 3. So now we have x. So that's going to be our vertical. X equals negative 3. And our horizontal isotope, we know that c equals 12. We know that y equals c. So y equals 12. And finally, number 6. The examples, find the horizontal and vertical isotopes. Okay, vertical isotope, take the denominator, move it over. 8x plus 1 equals 0. Minus 1 minus 1. 8x equals negative 1. Divide by 8. Divide by 8. X equals negative 1 over 8. Okay, and then you have your horizontal isotope. So x equals negative 1, 8. And then horizontal isotope is c equals. You always take the sign in front of the constant. So negative 16, y equals c, y equals negative 16, y equals negative 16.